Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays Doki Doki Literature Club. We're still moving along here. I think it's fair to say, if you have a sensitivity, anxiety, depression, you don't want to watch some touchy subjects, consider yourself forewarned here. I'm like, wait a minute, was the last time I played this game really Wednesday? I think it was. It has been a while. I've been really busy, and also the game spooked me last time. It kept me away for a little while. Okay, so we made our way home. We're on, like, alternate universe number 1 or whatever. The whole way, my mind wanders back and forth between the three girls, Natsuki, Yuri, and of course, Monika. Will I really be happy spending every day after school in a literature club? Perhaps I'll have the chance to grow closer to one of these girls. Alright, I'll just need to make the most of my circumstances, and I'm sure good fortune will find me. And I guess that starts with writing a poem tonight. I gotta say, I've been singing the praises of Doki Doki Literature Club for a few days here. I'm very impressed with the way this game subverts the narrative, but it's definitely sensitive subjects for sure. A dream. I was wandering in an abandoned warehouse at night. I was lost looking for an exit. I just wanted to go home. Came upon a huge empty room, its ceiling and walls beyond the deep blackness. My steps were quick in order to hurry to the other side or to a wall, anything. Suddenly, the ground was no longer beneath my feet. I stepped into a hole of indeterminate width. I fell for a good 5 seconds before crashing into warm water. Figuring out which way was up, I surfaced myself. The air was humid and the sounds of my splashing reverberated endlessly. My vision was completely swallowed by the dark. With one hand, I could feel the damp metal wall of the container. My lungs were already getting tired. It's a bad dream. I dreamt I was in the Stanley Cup Finals the other night. Anyway, whisper and a giggle. A silly memory from childhood. My fickle grief. And my meager heartbeat were an inferno of excitement, of crimson milk. Oh, I kind of like that. My meager heartbeat was an inferno of crimson milk. Passion, fireworks, massacre. Unrestrained analysis, sadness with a judgment, starscape. How about that? Beautiful. My meager heartbeat, an inferno of crimson milk. Hi again, Ryan. Glad to see you didn't run away on us. Ha ha ha. Don't forget, you're here forever. Nah, don't worry. This might be a little strange for me, but at least I keep my word. Well, I'm back at the literature club. I was the last to come in, so everybody else is already hanging out. Thanks for keeping your promise, Ryan. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you, making you dive headfirst into literature when you're not accustomed to it. Oh, come on! Like he deserves any slack. You already had to be dragged here by Monika. I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what, but if you don't take us seriously, then you won't see the end of it. Natsuki, you certainly have a big mouth for someone who keeps a manga collection in the club room. Monika. Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying Monika and manga. Manga is literature. Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat. I'm sorry, Ryan. We'll make sure to put your comfort first, okay? Yuri shoots Natsuki with a disappointed glance. Yuri shoots Natsuki with a disappointed glance. Anyway, now that you're in the club and all, perhaps you might have interest in picking up a book to read? Well, I can't really say no either way. Like you said, I'm in this club now, so it only feels right for me to do something like that if you ask. Wait, I didn't mean it like that. Ooh. If you don't really want to, then forget I said anything, I guess. No, it's not that, Yuri. I want to try to be a part of this club, so even if I don't read often, I'd be happy to pick up a book if you wanted me to. Are you sure? I just felt like, well, as vice president and all. Excuse me, you're not the vice president. Somebody that I used to know was the vice president. I should help you get started on something you might like. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. I didn't want you to feel left out, so I picked out a book that I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so it should keep your attention, even if you don't usually read. And we could, discuss it if you wanted. This is, how is this girl accidentally being so cute? Hey, am I losing it? Or is this whole scene at a Dutch angle? It's kind of messing with my brain a little bit, I gotta be honest with you. This can't be right. Like, normally it used to be level, right? Now the desks are turned. She even picked up a book she thinks I'll like, despite me not reading much. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. Hook! I enthusiastically take the book and throw it over my shoulder. Phew. Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hearing what you think. Now that everyone's settled in, I expect Monica to kick off some scheduled activities for the club, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. I'm really curious to talk to Yuri a little bit more, but at the same time, I would feel bad for distracting her from reading. I catch a glimpse of the cover of her book. It looks like the same book she lent to me. More than that, she seems to be only on the first few pages. Crap. I think she noticed me looking at her. She sneaks another glance at me and our eyes meet for a split second. But that only makes her hide her face deeper in her book. Sorry! I was just spacing out. I mutter this, sensing I made her uncomfortable. Oh, it's fine. If I was focused, then I probably wouldn't have noticed in the first place. But I'm just rereading a bit of this, so... That's the book you gave me, right? Mm-hmm. I wanted to reread some of it, not for any particular reason. Just curious. How come you got 2 copies of the same book? Well, when I stopped at the bookstore yesterday, that's not what I meant. I mean, I just happened to buy 2 of them. I see. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decided to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon. I'm glad to hear. Once it starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and relatable story. Is that so? What's the story about anyway? No spoilers, please. Well, I look at the cover of the book. The book is titled Portrait of Markov, former Montreal Canadiens defenseman. If the game can repeat my dialogue, or repeat dialogue, I can repeat dialogue too. There's an ominous-looking eye symbol on the front cover. Basically, it's about this religious camp that was turned into a human experiment prison, and the people trapped there have this trait that turns them into killing machines that lust for blood. But the facility gets even worse, and they start selectively breeding people by cutting off their limbs and affixing them to... Oh, that might be a little bit of a spoiler. But anyway, I'm really into it. The book, I mean. Not the thing about the limbs. That's kind of, minkus? That's kind of dark, isn't it? Yuri made it sound like it was going to be a nice story, so that dark turn came from nowhere. Are you not a fan of that sort of thing, Ryan? Sick Mundus, brother. No, it's not that. I mean, I could definitely enjoy these kinds of stories, so don't worry. I hope so. Yeah, I totally forgot that Yuri is into those things. She's so sly and reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different. It's just that this kind of story is the kind that challenges you to look at life from a strange new perspective. When horrible things happen, not just because someone wants to be evil, but because the world is full of horrible people and we're all worthless anyway, then suddenly... I'm rambling, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost interest or anything. Well, I guess it's all right then, but I feel like I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writing fill my thoughts, my whole body gets incredibly minkus. I forget to pay attention to other people. So I'm sorry if I end up saying something strange, and please stop me if I start talking too much. I really don't think you need to worry. That just means you're passionate about reading. The least I can do is listen. It's a literature club, after all. That's true. In fact, I might as well get started reading it, right? Yes. Yo, she got degoused. Yes, I mean you don't have to, but... what are you saying? Let me just get the book. I quickly retrieved the book that I had put into my bag. All right, it's fine if I sit here, right? I slip into the seat next to Yuri's. Yeah. Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you to. It's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone. I see. Let me show you how it's done. I just did it like 3 days ago. Well, just tell me if I end up distracting you or anything. All right. I open the book and start the prologue. I soon understand what Yuri means about reading in company. It's as if I can feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not a particularly bad thing, maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri is in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. It looks like she's reading from my book instead. So sorry. I was just bathing in the feeling of your body heat. Yuri, you really apologize a lot, don't you? I do? I don't really mean to. Sorry. I mean... Here, this should work, right? I slide my desk until it's up against Yuri's, then hold my book more between the two of them. I suppose so. Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we lean in a little bit, our shoulders are almost touching. It feels like my left arm's in the way, so instead I use my right hand to hold the book open. I guess that makes it kind of difficult to turn the page. Here. I'm scared of this scene. I don't want something to jump out at me on this scene. I'd be a little afraid. Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and forefinger. I do the same with my right arm on the side of the book. That way I turn a page and Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side, but in holding it like this, we're huddled even closer together than before. It's actually kind of distracting me. It's as if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face and she's in the corner of my vision. Are you ready? To turn the page? Sorry. I think I got a little distracted for a second. I glance over at Yuri's face again and our eyes meet. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her. That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. Yeah, sorry, my eyes got tired. It's probably the least I can do, since you've been so patient with me. Yeah, thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she finishes the page before me, so I turn it by my own volition. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently letting go of the page, letting it flutter over to her side as she catches it under her own thumb. Hey, Yuri? This might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit. In the human experimentation prison? No, I don't relate to this character at all. Definitely not. Really? I was just thinking the way she always second guesses things she says and all that. That's what you were talking about. Sorry, I thought you meant something else about her. Something else? Never mind. We didn't even get that far yet, so I don't know why that came into my head. Yuri, are you feeling all right? Yuri's been a little fidgety ever since we started reading. You can rest if you're feeling sick or something. Your breathing is a little... My breathing? Yuri puts her hands on her chest as if to feel her heartbeat. I didn't even notice. Anyway, I'm fine. I just need some water. All right, don't push yourself. Yuri stands up and practically rushes out of the classroom. What on earth was that about? Ryan? Did something happen just now? I have no idea. Yuri was acting a little strange, I guess. So you don't know anything? Sorry, can't say I do. Are you worried about her? Oh no, not really. Because you're a demon. Because you're a demon of malevolence. I was just making sure that you didn't do anything to her. No, nothing. Don't worry, I believe you, silly. Yuri does this sometimes, so it's nothing alarming. All right, if you say so. Anyway, why don't we start with sharing our poems with each other? Shouldn't we wait for Yuri? Well, she might be a while, so I just figured we'd get started without her. Is that okay? Yeah, I was just asking. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book, then slip it back into my bag. Let's read Natsuki's poem. I told Natsuki I was interested in her poems yesterday. It's probably only fair if I shared mine with her first. God, I'm good. Smooth operator. I remembered that. Well, it's about what I expected from someone like you. That's a little blunt. Well, excuse me. It's not like I said it was bad. Just didn't evoke any emotions. So basically, it's not cute enough for your tastes. Do you want to get smacked? I'll pass. Sigh. Well, anyway, I guess I need to show you mine. Not that you'll like it. Right, yes. I'm familiar with this one. Yeah, I told you weren't gonna like it. I like it. What? Just be honest. I am. Why are you so convinced I wouldn't like it? Because I told you that on the last loop? Well, because everyone in high school thinks that writing is to be all sophisticated and stuff, so people don't even take my writing seriously. But isn't the point of poems for people to express themselves? Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid. Yeah, exactly. I like it when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Like in this poem, seeing everyone around you do great things can be really disheartening, so I decided to write about it. Yeah, I understand. But the other nice thing about simple writing is that it puts more weight on the wordplay. Like I set up for a rhyme at the end, but then made it fall flat on purpose. It helps bring out the feeling in the last line. So you did. I guess more went into it than I thought. That's what it means to be a pro. I'm glad you learned something. But didn't expect that from the youngest one here, did you? Yeah, guess not. I decided to humor her with that last comment. I don't really care how old everyone is, but if Natsuki is feeling proud, then I won't take that away from her. That's nice. Hello, Monica. Please keep at least 2 meters away. I do not trust you. Having a good time so far? Yeah. It's literature club, isn't it? Good. Glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we can do better, I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course, I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyway, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to. Such a menacing gesture here. Don't worry, Ryan. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know? But it's that sort of barrier we'll all learn to get past soon. Yeah, that's true. I hand Monica my poem. Great job, Brian. I was going ooh in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. My meager heartbeat, an inferno of crimson milk. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you. It's easiest for me to keep everyone's expectations low. That way, it always counts when I put in some effort. That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know that Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Writing that's full of imagery and symbolism and crimson milk. Sometimes I feel like Yuri's mind is just totally detached from reality. I don't mean that like it's a bad thing, though. But sometimes I get the impression she's totally given up on people. She spends so much time in her own head that it's probably a much more interesting place for her. But that's why she gets happy when you treat her with a lot of kindness. I don't think she's used to being indulged like that. She must be really starved for social interaction, so don't blame her for coming on a little strongly. Hey, Monica, maybe you should mind your own business. We're taking the one-way train to Nunya right now. Nunya business. Like earlier, I think if she gets too stimulated, she ends up withdrawing and looking for alone time. Suddenly, the door opens. Yuri! I'm back. Did I miss anything? Not really. Well, we all started sharing our poems with each other. Huh? Already? I'm sorry for being late. No need to apologize. We still have plenty of time, so I'm more glad that you took all the time you needed. All right. Thanks, Monica. I suppose I should go get my poem now. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. This is what Apollo says before he bodies you in Fall Guys. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good. Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know? I see. Well, let's read it then. Excuse me. This is new, I think. Hole in wall. But he wasn't looking at me. Confused, I frantically glanced at my surroundings. But my burned eyes can no longer see color. Are there others in this room? Are they talking? Or are they simply poems on flat sheets of paper? The sound of frantic scrawling playing tricks on my ears. The room begins to crinkle, closing in on me. The air I breathe dissipates before it reaches my lungs. I panic. There must be a way out. It's right there. He's right there. Swallowing my fears, I brandish my pen. So I think this is a continuation of the poem that she wrote on day 1 last loop, if I remember correctly. So what do you think? It's very freeform, if that's what you call it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. It's okay. Yeah, that kind of style's gotten pretty popular nowadays. That is, a lot of poems have been putting emphasis on the timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, it can be really powerful. What was the inspiration behind this one? Oh, you know the game show Hole in the Wall? Well, I'm not sure I know how to put it. I guess you could say I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit. An epiphany? Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone is better friends with each other. Anyway, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. I hate that I agree with you. It's a heartbreaking moment. The worst person that you know has just made an excellent point. All right, Yuri. This might be new content. As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten. Exceptional. What was that? Did I say that out loud? Yuri first covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face. Ooh, he's going to hate me. You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri. Thence. I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for? Yuri takes a breath. So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before. Yeah, this is my 4th one. It's more, I'm a Mad Libsist. Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time, really. Huh? Yuri stares at me blankly, then looks at my poem again. Well, I know that. I just meant, Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her finger along the words in the poem, as if breaking it down more thoroughly. Yeah, okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just that there's specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers. Oh, really? New writers are writing poems like My Meager Heartbeat, An Inferno of Crimson Milk? I don't think so. And having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form-fit the two together. The end result is that both the style and the expressiveness are weakened. Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone, and she sounds like an expert, Mark. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There's so many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone in the club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little bit biased, though. Biased? How? Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry. It's fine. I apologize, or I accept the apology on Natsuki's behalf. I'm not sure if Yuri is apologizing to herself, me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now? Please do! I'd love to share my thought process behind it. Yuri smiles dreamily as if that's a rare opportunity for her, which is, in and of itself, kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? I believe this is the same one. It's a good one, though. The last remaining street light to have withstood the test of time, the last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe, calmly breathing air of the present but living in the past. The light flickers, I flicker back. Yo, but it's got double meaning, because she do literally be flickering now. ... I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting. What? I wasn't thinking that at all. But it took you a long time to read. Ah. Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting is pretty. For wingdings. Huh? That's a relief. Also, I like the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive. It wasn't too short. I usually write longer poems. Not at all. I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose. Are you into ghosts, Yuri? Hoo-hoo. Actually, the story isn't about a ghost at all, Ryan. You fool. Really? I must have totally missed the point. Well, I suppose you did only glance over it after all, but remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost. Lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing. That's a lot more solemn when you put it that way. I hadn't even thought of that. That's impressive. Huh? It's nothing, really. I got it off of Spark Notes. Yours was impressive, too, so... Nah, if anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you. You think so? Yeah, of course. You know, I was really nervous about doing all this, but in the end, I enjoyed it. I'm gonna keep doing my best for you, Ryan. Me too. Or whatever. Phew, I guess that's everyone. I glance around the room. That was a little more stressful than I anticipated. It's as if everyone is judging me for my mediocre writing abilities. Even if they're just being nice, there's no way my poems can stand up to theirs. This is a literature club, after all. They're hitting us with the minor key. They fixed it. That's so scary. I sigh. I guess that's what I ended up getting myself into. Across the room, Monika's writing something in her notebook. Red rum! My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As they read in tandem, I watch each of their expressions change. Natsuki's eyebrows furrow in frustration. Meanwhile, Yuri smiles sadly. What's with this language? Huh? Did you say something? Oh, it's nothing. Natsuki dismissively returns the poem to the desk with one hand. I guess you could say it's fancy. Ah, thanks. Yours is cute. Cute? Did you completely miss the symbolism or something? It's clearly about the feeling of giving up. How can that be cute? I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. I was trying to say something nice. Huh? You mean you have to try that hard to come up with something nice to say? Thanks, but it really didn't come out nice at all. Well, I do have a couple suggestions. If I was looking for suggestions, I would have asked someone who actually liked it. Which people did, by the way. Monika liked it, and Ryan did too. So based on that, I'll gladly give you some suggestions of my own. First of all, excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I've spent a long time establishing my writing style. I don't expect to change it anytime soon, unless of course I come across something particularly inspiring, which I haven't yet. Nah. And Ryan liked my poem too, you know. Ladies, ladies, there's more than enough Ryan to go around. Natsuki suddenly stands up. Oh? I didn't realize you were so invested in trying to impress our new member, Yuri. Huh? That's not what I... Ooh, you're just... Yuri stands up as well. Maybe you're just jealous that Ryan appreciates my advice more than he appreciated yours. And how do you know he didn't appreciate my advice more? Are you that full of yourself, eh? No. If I was full of myself, I would deliberately go out of my way to make everything I do overly cutesy. Ooh. Well, you know what? I wasn't the one who's, magically grew a size bigger as soon as Ryan started showing up. Natsuki? Natsuki, that's a little minkus. This doesn't involve you. Taking out your own insecurities on others like that. You really act as young as you look, Natsuki. Me? Look who's talking, you wanna be edgy. What? What's going on, dude? Edgy? Sorry that my lifestyle is too much for someone of your mental age to comprehend. Oh no, it's when unity goes off the rails. See? Just saying that proves my point. Most people learn to get over themselves after they graduate middle school, you know? If you want to prove anything, then stop harassing others with your sickening attitude. You think you can counterbalance your toxic personality just by dressing and acting cute? The only cute thing about you is how hard you try. Whoa, be careful or you might cut yourself on that edge, Yuri. Oh, my bad. You already do, don't you? Did you just accuse me of cutting myself? This has gone off the rails. What the frick is wrong with your head? Yeah, go on. Let Ryan hear everything you really think. I'm sure he'll be head over heels for you after this. Suddenly, Yuri turns towards me as if she just noticed I was standing here. Ryan, she's just trying to make me look bad. That's not true. She started it. How did I get wet? Squeeb? Yuri. How about that? Nope. Can I? I've made up my minds. Uh-oh. Hello, demon. ... Hey, Ryan. Why don't we step outside for a little bit? Step outside of what? Reality? Sorry about that. They really shouldn't have tried to get you involved. It's probably better for us to stay out of this. We'll go back inside once they're done yelling. Some president I am, right? I can't even confront my own club members properly. I just wish I was able to be a little bit more assertive sometimes, but I never have it in me to put my foot down against others. You understand, right? Anyway, if this makes you want to spend less time with the others, then that's fine. I'd be happy to spend time with you instead. Suddenly, Natsuki runs out of the classroom. She's very upset. She quickly runs away. Oh dear. Well, it looks like they're done. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Yuri is rocking back and forth in her desk with her palms on her forehead. Yuri, I didn't mean it. I believe you. I have no idea what Yuri might have said to Natsuki, or did. Ryan, please don't hate me. Please. I'm not like this. There's something wrong with me today. It's fine, Yuri. We know you didn't mean it. Besides, I'm sure Natsuki will forget all about it by tomorrow. Completely. You tried to fool me once, you didn't fool me. You said don't leave her hanging. I said to myself, self, I know what's coming up. Steel yourself for what's about to come. You say she's going to forget tomorrow? Normal sentence. She's going to forget tomorrow completely? The writing's on the wall. Anyway, the meeting is over, so you can go home now if you want. Yuri looks at me like she wants to say something, but she keeps glancing at Monica. You can go first, Monica. I'd like to stay a little bit longer. I'm the president, so I should be the last one out. I'll wait for you to be done. Well, I'm vice president, so please let me take that responsibility today. It kind of sounds like you don't want me around for something, Yuri. It's not that. It's not that. I didn't get much of a chance to discuss my book with Ryan. It would just be embarrassing with you listening. Sigh. I guess I don't really have a choice, do I? I'm sorry for causing trouble, but I really appreciate you... All right. Probably throw in an autosave here if you don't mind. It's one heck of an episode. The game continues to throw me for a loop. If you enjoyed it, please do click the like button. This is indeed a subscriber milestone for 820,000 subscribers. I apologize for how long it's taken to get out here, but we're chunking it through bit by bit. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you with another one tomorrow. Later.